This isn't so much about the practice, but it's about the talk today. And I just want to take this opportunity to express my gratitude and for this time we've had. And that which will continue. But to the talk, I really, really deeply appreciated today's talk. It dissolved so many long-held puzzlements, and I don't have a question out of it, but it was really quite a profound listening for me. So thank you.
Delson, I have a question. Regarding precepts, if one wants to follow 8 precepts, entertainment, in terms of entertainment, is that also include watching lectures on educational contents, reading anything you like a video that you watch related to educational content, like it's not like a TV show. I mean, you study something, right? Like that. So
Yeah, I see nothing wrong with that. If it's something related to education, related to your profession, or related to something that you want to build your knowledge about, I see nothing wrong with it insofar as you don't have any mental attachments towards that knowledge. Entertainment, in my view, would be things like that excite the senses, excite the six sense bases, and provide sensory pleasure, which then has the tendency of the mind to crave for it, and then that creates clinging and so on and so forth. So I see nothing wrong with it.
thank you.
Good morning, Delson. Good morning, friends. I would also like to express my to Delson and to Kuhn and to Bhante Ananda and to my fellow retreatants for this retreat, which has been very valuable to me and inspiring. And there's no and, that's a full stop actually at the end, so thank you. I have a question, which is to do with the continuation of the meditation. And we've touched a little bit on questions of precepts. I've also been reading the 8 virtues, and it makes a reference to eating at improper times. And yesterday I ate late and then meditated, and it was a challenging meditation. So I'm just wondering, going forward, what eating at improper times means for a non-retreat schedule.
Yeah. You have to find what works for you. So essentially, I believe eating at improper times is really eating at a time which would not make sense, like eating before bed, for example, having an evening meal, which could cause certain imbalances in the neurotransmitters when you want to meditate for the next morning, and so on and so forth. So it's really about experimenting with your own mind and body and see what works for you, and everything that helps to keep your mind in balance is what's more important. So eating at different times depends upon your own schedule. There are people who have different waking schedules, for example, and different sleeping schedules. And so if your daytime is somebody else's nighttime, or your nighttime is somebody else's daytime, what really would be the improper time to eat there? It's more about having things in moderation, making sure that you have a balance in terms of how you have your meals. And generally, just don't eat before you go to sleep. Try not to eat during the evening, quote unquote. That could be also the daytime before you go to sleep, if you maintain that kind of a schedule because of your work.
I have also a question regarding the practice. Like, are there certain things outside of a retreat that one can do to support one's practice in terms of, I don't know, in today's time, like not using the phone so much, or not having like stimuli so much, or yeah, if there are things that like you can recommend?
Yeah, number one, stop watching the news. There's no benefit in watching the news right now. If you need to watch the news, watch it just for the sake of being informed of what's happening in the world. But otherwise, don't dwell on things like that. Try to maintain, obviously, your precepts. Try to maintain a lifestyle in alignment with the Eightfold Path, which means maintaining right speech, maintaining right action, maintaining right livelihood primarily. And obviously, you want to apply the 4 foundations of mindfulness at every moment as much as possible, because that's going to help you not only be able to understand where your mind is, but also be able to develop your enlightenment factors, be able to, using right effort, to eradicate the 5 hindrances in your daily life. And going back to right intention or effective choice, where you see that if there is something that is coming in the way of being unwholesome, you immediately recognize it and let it go. So you have the intention of letting go of things that would cause harm to yourself and to others, and maintain a attitude of loving kindness with everybody that you meet and interact with. So all of this will really translate into a better meditation practice for yourself when you go and sit down for meditating.
I have a question. If I want to talk to other people about what is kind of practices that I've been doing, and most people are used to, at least where I'm from to concentration style practice, and then it would lead to things like don't bring it up too much, or it's kind of an odd middle ground with the bringing up the feeling. How would you say what will be a sort of wise introduction to this?
Yeah, so if there are people interested in, let's say, understanding what kind of practice you're doing, generally you would want to let them initiate it. Let your actions and let your thoughts and let your speech speak for itself in the way you behave. And when people notice that you are coming from a loving, kind attitude, they'll want to know what is it that you're doing. And then at that point, if you feel inclined to, you can talk about your practice and tell them this is what you do, rather than just bringing it up out of nowhere. I mean, if the conversation turns to where, what is it that you do in terms of your spiritual practice, or you just are with friends and they're sharing their different practices and you feel inclined to, you're more than welcome to do that. But essentially, just let your actions speak for yourself.
Thank you.
I would just like to thank Bante Ananda and Delson for this retreat, and the Suttavada Foundation. It's been really useful, and I mean, seriously, it really helps a lot of people like me who tried many things, but yeah, things don't work. So I mean, it's in the end all about how we understand things, and if that's going to help the lifestyle, that's the best I think. So thank you so much for inviting us. Thank you.
In regards to as you referred to a few days ago, how the breath becomes very, very shallow and light, and that's a little challenging to other. I don't have a problem with that, but I find that I want to. My idea of balancing is going out and doing some more than just walking, but doing something to really exercise the lungs and oxygenate. Could you comment, please?
Yeah, I know one individual who meditates while they're cycling, for example. So if you want, you can meditate while you're at the gym. Just maintain your mindfulness, maintain your ability to see where your mind is at and where the body is at. And if you want to bring in one of the Brahma Viharas, like loving kindness, you can still do it. The whole purpose of doing the walking meditation is an exercise to see that you can actually bring this in with whatever you're doing, whether you're eating your food, whether you're driving a car, whether you're at the gym, whatever it might be. So it's good to obviously get some exercise for the maintenance of the body. But while you're doing it, you could still be mindful. You could still have the 4 foundations of mindfulness while doing it.
Mabudai Delson. I didn't know there was a talk today. I didn't find it.
Oh, I think what happened was you were one day early, Bante. So I think when it was day 0, you started with day 1, because
Oh,
you're already well versed with the practice, so you don't really require an introduction to practice. So um,
oh.
there was no talk.
I was
actually.
wondering.
Yeah.
Good. I was okay. Good. Thank you. And well, thank you for all your work and your wonderful guidance. Very appreciated. And it's quite wonderful to see it all happening, everybody here. So, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Good.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, go ahead.
Very simple. We are doing the 5 precepts, mostly daily life. Sometimes, we have the big day, something like the full moon day or something like that. We doing the 8 precept once a while. So we go back to 5 precept, go to 8 precept. That's okay, or always keep it the 5 precept. The how is
Yeah.
a little bit different, or
So I cannot speak from experience because I don't follow that process of following the 8 precepts on the full moon day and so on. So I would ask Bhante Ananda to comment on that, please.
Well, if I understand the question correctly, this is talking about the observance day, Uposatha. So usually, if that is the desire of the person, but 2,600 years ago, they were working on the moon calendar. So nowadays, it doesn't work so well because people work for 5 days and then they have 2 days off. And so that's how it works now, the solar calendar. And so the equivalent of that is every weekend or every week or every couple of weeks, a person would take a full day for practice, for example. That was the usual practice that would be done every quarter moon or every full moon or new moon. And take on, if you can, if you're lucky enough, you live in a Buddhist country or you have a monastery close by, you can even go there and take the virtues, and if that is of any interest to you, you can even take the refuges again and have a whole day. Usually the Uposatha virtues are the eight virtues. So that would include not eating after noon and not wearing any necklaces, jewelry, anything that beautifies the body, and no
high luxurious beds and seats. But really, the most important in this is really to have a day to maybe go listen to a talk on the Dhamma. We have internet and all these things. YouTube is a pretty good place. But if you have a monastery and people that you have good faith in and that you love and respect, you can go there, and that's a wonderful thing to do and practice meditation for most of the day. And that's a pretty good uposatha.
Thank you. Thanks.
Good.
I think Bhante Ananda just partly answered the question I had. The other part of the question was, after this retreat, what's your sense of when it's wise to do another retreat? And whether the sensible thing is to just do the same retreat, because obviously we will relearn and see things in a new way anyway. So it's really to get a sense of the timings of retreats and schedule of retreats.
So usually if you've already done one retreat, you can do another retreat, maybe every other retreat. And what I mean by that is give the opportunity for, let's say, other people who want to join in on the retreat who haven't done so before, so that they have an opportunity. In terms of your own practice, actually what I'm going to be doing, and I've already told the people for the morning interviews, is since this is the last day, I'm going to be making notes on their experience and their practice for the retreat, and then write up a little bit of a summary report for each individual, making recommendations on what they should be doing in terms of their practice, how long they should be practicing, what their object should be, so that you still have some kind of a pattern of practice off retreat.
All my gratitude to for Sangha, teacher, team, and whole meditator to have shared this retreat. Thanks for all.
So I'd also like to thank everybody here for attending the retreat, and I'd like to thank especially Bhante Ananda for his wisdom here, his participation and his presence, and for Kuhn, who organized all of this. He really is the backbone of the infrastructure in organizing and scheduling and making sure that everything is working as smooth as possible. So, of course, behind him is also another team of people who are volunteers and who are spending their time giving to the Dhamma in the way of helping organize this and other things related to the foundation. So thank you everybody for attending. Thank you Kuhn. Thank you Bhante Ananda.
Thank you, Kane. Thank you, Bhante Ananda. Thank you, Delson.
We still have a few minutes, so if anybody has a question, they can ask questions. We'll wait for another, let's say 20-30 seconds. And then I would request Bhante Ananda to essentially officially close the Q&A with a few words and share some merit with us.
Is it time? Well, one of the topics that I like to bring up at the end of a retreat is, like I mentioned yesterday, beautiful friendship. In Pali, this is called Kalyana Mitatta. And in many suttas, the Buddha underlines the importance of surrounding ourselves with wise people, with people that will support us in path in this teaching, as what I think everybody here is doing right now. But when we are in a retreat environment, it's always a little easier. We have good conditions and supporting conditions, not too many rough edges around, so we can practice smoothly. But going back is going back to all of the things, all of the challenges of life. And the Buddha, once Ananda, who was his assistant, came to him and said, "Oh, Bhante, surely this is at least half the holy life. That beautiful friendship, wise association." And the Buddha said, "Don't say that, Ananda, don't say that. It is the whole of the holy life. It is so important because it is the reason why this whole practice is there. The very first person we owe this is the Buddha himself. And if the Buddha wasn't our Kalyana Mitta, our spiritual friend, our very compassionate teacher, in the first place, there wouldn't have been this teaching pointing out wholesome states, unwholesome states, developing the wholesome, abandoning the unwholesome, understanding that generosity is, in fact, we are the first ones to benefit from it, and to take every opportunity that we have to perform generosity of mind, of speech, and body, physical. And the Buddha often praised generosity so much, but not material. In fact, what's the highest generosity is by far mental development and cultivating a loving, wholesome mind, and learning to embody this into our lives. And that is what really tells us if what we've practiced has brought us some fruits. And that even giving to an animal, the Buddha said, will come back to us 100 times. An unvirtuous person, a human being, will come back to us 1,000 times. And a virtuous person 100,000 times. And then he says, what then to say of a stream enterer, or somebody that understands the importance of generosity, of virtue, of cultivating love, compassion, forgiveness, and wisdom. And these states are strengthened by wisdom. And so one who surrounds oneself with wise company, wise friends, that stays with this wholesome, supporting pool of people, can be expected, in fact, to keep practicing, and to keep holding on to virtue, keep practicing right effort, relaxing the tension, the distractions, not taking all the situations so personal, just taking a step back and seeing how everything is calm and smiling. And when we take ourselves a little too personal, a little too important, maybe just smile at how mind is crazy sometimes, and take every opportunity that we get to radiate love and compassion. And with wise friendship, we can also be expected to develop in wisdom and to continue this path. And to avoid the traps of this world where we might be tempted to do some things or others that are not so skillful sometimes. But to remember the beauty and the depth and the happiness of the Dhamma and the bliss of the Dhamma that is cultivated by the wise and delighted in by the wise. In so many ways, this mental development, this samadhi, through love and joy and release, is quite blissful and brings a lot of happiness and upliftment in our lives. And so to remember that, and to remember that it always pays off to do good for ourselves and for everybody else. This is a whole, so we're all together in this. And so I wish you a very happy return to your lives, to everything that you will be doing in the near future. And hopefully Delson's wisdom helped you get deeper and bring your release and happiness and understanding of the Dhamma to an even greater level that you can apply and help others with it also in your own lives. So in Pali, there is this short sentences that we say is Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipattiya Buddhang Pujami. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipattiya Dhammang Pujami. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipattiya Sanghang Pujami. Simply saying that the real way, the true way of paying real homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha is to practice in accordance with the Dhamma. And so that is the greatest way of paying homage to the teachers in the past, the present teachers, the people around you. And so that is what I wish for you. And perhaps we can share our merits, great merits on this retreat. Should I wait for the image to come up, or okay, good. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share these merits that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty powers, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. My deepest anumodana, rejoicing in your merits, rejoicing in all the goodness of your actions, and metta to all of you, and special to Kun, who's in the background also, driving this whole thing. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Delson.
Thank you, Bhante.